Yet been published. It relates directly to the black communities across America. After here, I'm going to Bimini. As she said, I'm also going to speak at the Washita Conference again in Louisiana about this. Free. But before I tell you about that, people will say, well, big deal, so what? Why is history important at all? History is extremely important. Imagine if I could take from each one of you as an individual everything you knew about life to last week and just erase it. Where would you be? You'd be lost. You'd be incompetent. You wouldn't know how to plan for the future. And you do the same thing with a people. If you erase their history or you don't tell enough about their past, they also become incompetent and they can't fulfill the future. And that's why a lot of people in the black community have felt, well, how come all of the dreams of the civil rights movement aren't yet fulfilled? And one reason is because this history is still suppressed. It still isn't taught. But there's been a recent discovery which is going to blow the lid off of all that. And that's what I'm going to talk about. Now, basically, what science has now found, although this is suppressed for the most part, there have been some great researchers. You have some wonderful books there, like by Evan van Sertima, who's talking about these things. This is not taught in your public schools, although it will be. The history that the children are learning today is not history that's going to be taught in the next 25 years. It's going to be radically different. We now know for a fact that long before Columbus, there were 4 major migrations of blacks to the Americas, different parts of the Americas, for totally different reasons, totally separated from each other by many centuries. But nonetheless, there were these black, you can call them migrations, but they were not in China. I'll describe them. You can make up your own mind what they were. The most recent of these took place about 400 years before Columbus was even born, and it's all outlined in a marvelous book over there. It's called The Golden Trade of the Moors. And it is now known that the West African Kingdom of Mali had huge fleets of merchant vessels, and that these kings, these black kings of West Africa, began sailing across the Atlantic to Mexico as early as 900 AD. Now, why did they do that? They did that for trade, not for conquest or invasion. They did this for trade. Mali was very wealthy in gold. They had lots of minerals. Some of the black kingdoms that were called the Yoruba or the Benin, they were great workers in bronze. But the trouble with West Africa, and it's still a trouble today, not enough food, famine. Somehow, the black kings of Mali had preserved this tradition long before, where there was this kingdom across the sea, a totally different one. It was very hard to reach. You needed to have excellent ships and good sailors, and nobody in Europe was doing it at this time. But if you cross that sea, this other kingdom across the Atlantic was very rich in a certain kind of food, which the people over there called maize. We now call corn. And these West African kings launched at least 2 major fleet trading ventures that went across the Atlantic 900 AD to about 1600 AD. And they brought over their bronze work, and they taught the Mexican people, the ancient Mexican people who were then known as the Mayas. The Mayas had built up a great kingdom of their own, but in 900 AD they were in decline. They were really on the outs. Nobody knows exactly why, but their society was in decline. They were losing all their technology. Then these black fleets came across from West Africa, from Mali, and they presented a lot of gold work, bronze work, and in return, they came back with shiploads of corn, maize. Now we know for sure that this actually happened because very recently, you'll see in the next issue of our magazine, not this issue, the next issue is coming out in about 2 weeks. This is part of it. The discoveries are happening so fast and furious, it's hard to keep track. They now have found that a certain type of maize or corn, which is growing in West Africa, has been growing there for many centuries, is not native to West Africa. It is a type of corn which comes from Mexico. Could have only been brought over by these Mali seafarers over 1,000 years ago. So this is the first concrete proof that they beat Columbus by centuries, and were not just on a voyage of exploration. They were going back and forth, bringing corn back. Now, why do we know about that? Well, this trade stopped abruptly 1600 AD. 1600 AD, the Spanish, the Portuguese run a real aggressive colonizing campaign, and they took over Africa, and they destroyed a lot of these kingdoms. And with the destruction of these kingdoms went all the knowledge and all the history of these past trades. This is a tremendous lesson for us because, you know, we're so proud of our American civilization. We think it'll go on forever. But when a civilization falls, history tells us it takes almost all memory of it with it. Civilization is really very fragile. And that's why these lessons from the past are very, very important. If we want to preserve our civilization, we have to learn what happened to these others that crashed. So we know for sure between 900 and 1600 AD, long before Columbus was even born, as I say, these blacks were trading, these black kingdoms were trading with Mexico. I have to refer to my notes just because this is new to me as well. There's also traditions in Mexico, ancient Mexico, of these black kings coming. And one of them was called, by the Mayas, if I pronounce this right, Ecchua, which means the black calabash or the black gourd. It referred not only to his black skin color, but also this gourd that he brought over. This gourd has been portrayed in these Maya hieroglyphs. This guy is portrayed as a West African type man, robes and everything. And he's holding a gourd in these glyphs. That gourd has actually been identified as a West African type of gourd. So here we're having wonderful proof that there were these contacts between Africa and Mexico. And they actually referred to him by this name. And it shows that the Mayas and these Mali civilizers, these Mali traders, got along really well. It wasn't a conquest. It wasn't one society taking over another. They both had things to offer each other. A new discovery.
Get your hand down and party at the party playing with his nose down.
Lamar set a new standard. He freed rappers to come on up. He's the boss. He's the boss. Now, when the rappers are free to say it like it is and say what they feel and teach their people through music and rap and song and dance, the cultural revolution is on.
Again. Whoa, look at that.
Whoa, you're right.
It's like you got your hand behind it.
It's taking the light and
no
it's flowing
way.
right here in front of me.
Yeah.
You see it?
Wow.
Yeah, you can see it from every angle.
Look at that.
That's it,
All
Cammy.
around out here.
This is it.
Unbelievable.
So
That is
the lights.
Look at this.
Wow.
Floating.
It's just floating
right
there.
here.
Oh, where is
Cool.
it's a
Look,
hologram?
there's another hologram down there.
Wait, keep doing it, guys. Keep doing it.
Right here.
Oh yeah.
See my
It's
trying
just what
to
you're
And then
doing.
it goes away. You gotta be at the.
Right there.
Wow.
And I
Stays
said,
That's
there.
what the sun and moon are doing. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
apparently
It's
so.
the apparent.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, gentlemen. Oh
Wow.
yeah.
This is so cool.
It's the parabolic and the
That
cosmic.
is all real.
amazing.
In fact, this is
See, that's why everybody sees the same angle. On
Exactly. It comes
No matter where
exactly.
they're
No matter
at.
where you're at. You'll see
Yes.
Because
it's cold. But
all
the
the light
actual hologram itself is
bright.
We in this bitch talking about altars, niggas looking at me like I'm crazy. So I had to remind niggas like, you must have forgot that when you went to church, it was a whole altar right there. They even had you donating money. Just like at the altar, you'll put money on your altar too. Feel me? They came around with a gold collection plate. Why gold? Why gold? Why gold? What vibration does gold give to an altar, y'all? Make it make sense. Why the trays couldn't be wooden? You ever thought about that? Why the trays couldn't be silver? Why the collection plate couldn't be silver? You know what I'm saying? Because even when it looked silver, it was still white gold. You go look into it. See what I'm saying? You feel me? Y'all, it was right there in front of you the whole time. Magic being done right in front of your face. You didn't even know it. Because they told us magic ain't real. Nigga, the Pope and them, boy, them niggas, boy, them cardinals, nigga, they be having on red, They coming out, they got their robes, nigga. See what I'm saying? They give you the cracker, give you the little grape juice. The cracker represents Jesus' body, don't it? The grape juice represents the blood. Fuck is we doing drinking blood for? But they teach you that if you drink the blood, you will have everlasting life. Sounds like a reptilian to me. You never thought about that, did you? Let's run it back. Cause I know we was walking to it. In case niggas forget, let's run it back a little bit. They gave you the blood. They gave you the grapefruit juice. They gave you the cracker. The cracker represents Jesus' body. The juice represents his blood. And the Bible clearly says, ye eat of my flesh and my blood, verbatim, y'all. For so whoever, nigga, eat the flesh of my flesh, the drink of the blood of, shall have for everlasting life. You go look it up. They wrote it, not me.
Called the moon. This is not the moon. This is actually underwater. This is a submarine. This is how these submarines literally look exactly like what they call the ship. This is a submarine level. This is a huge one. I believe the story of Noah, this is where they get it. Because when they get inside of this submarine, I don't call it a spaceship because this is not a spaceship. It's literally a mega submarine. They find a lot of body in there. They find plant. They find like specimens. They find a man in there, and the man end up dying. I don't think the man died. They're not going to show the man because probably his body is too preserved. And if they don't want to show it to the world because it's going to be too controversial because they go against the narrative they have, okay? The racist narrative they have that everything got to be pale, everything got to be white tea. So the narrative is going to contradict their narrative, so they don't want to show it to the world. So since she looked more pale because of the freezing, they feel like, okay, let's just use her then. But even then, they have this picture. They never talk about this on the news. They kept it really quiet in the media. They don't talk about this whatsoever. And this is a black woman. She looked just like Tiana Taylor. I'm looking at Tiana Taylor. This woman literally looked like Tiana Taylor. Let me give you another angle of her. This is Tiana Taylor right there. She looked like a clone of Tiana Taylor. And look at the picture down there. So look at the hair. She still have the coarse of their hair. Look at the wavy coarse hair. This is a black woman. They don't talk about it because, once again, race is always in between every conversation in the world because they create an agenda. They must follow the agenda, and they're not going to do anything because if it don't fit the agenda, they're going to act like they don't see it. So I don't believe this was a spaceship. This was a submarine level. So that's what it was, because they don't go in the back of the moon, none of that. They seen this underwater, a high altitude underwater. That's how they end up seeing this. And let me just show you a picture from there. Look, they took a picture from the area that they recruit this so-called spaceship. This look, you don't see the quality of the image look like it's an underwater quality image. It looks very grayish and wavy. This why you don't bring the name Tyron into the play. There's a reason behind it, because something happens before, okay? And let me explain this, because his name Tyron is actually his real name. His name is Tyron Carl Williams Carlson. So let me put it this way. Billy Carson is literally cloned himself. This is what you call, they clone Tyron. That's Billy Carson in a way. He have a case and he cloned himself by creating a new character. So that's why his name is Tyron. This is Tyron. They clone Tyron. So literally, he's playing the game by cloning himself to a new identity. That's why you don't see the name Tyron is within his name. He gave you Billy Carson. The Tyron disappeared because he reinvented himself for a new agenda. Now let me say this. Like I said before, there's a brain where Billy Carson started. Because there's a lot of names. This is where everything starts. This is Dr. York. This is where Billy Carson started. This is the beginning of these so-called UFO joints, UFO people in the black community talk about UFOs, talk about God, whatever. That's his upbringing. Dr. York was literally where it started, but you're never going to hear him the end of it because most of the people out there in the UFO community dealing with mostly white folks out here, they don't know that. They just so many cautions for him. But they don't know that we know where he started, his upbringing, how everything started. It started with none other than Dr. York. That's his first jump start, as he cloned himself to be cloning Tyrone. So the clone reinvented himself, but this is his upbringing. You start from here. Now, when he's talking about the Anunnaki, this is where it gets. Zechariah 6. I just want to be clear on this. This is all propaganda. Now, I'm going to go deeper because I just want to clear the way. This is where his upbringing comes from. Zechariah 6, talk about Enlil, Enki. All of it is nonsense. Let me say this. It's all nonsense. And let me go through the picture first. Then I'm going to show you what it really go down and why they do this. Why this curriculum system, because it's a system. And they're going to constantly change faith and change pace within the system because there's an agenda against humanity. Let me say this. There's an agenda against humanity.
Could be in play at this point. A very unpredictable storm this is. The dragon has been released.
Apparently, Robert, more dragons to come.
The dragon has been released.
Could this anomaly have been something more? Start of Hurricane Barrel.
And apparently, Robert, more dragons to come.
Could they be dropping hints?
The dragon has been released.
Coincidentally, it is the year of the dragon. And just for fun, this is Beryl Crystal.
Talk to 'em and they in love. Just make sure you hide your little sister from 'em.
What's up, G-Way? In the cut with my twin, we be vibing. Classy bitch, but they know I be outside with it.
Little girl and Drake in there like this, which I I completely forgot. But if Kendrick remembered that shit and put it in this video, he's a stalker. You want no parts with him, and I would suggest Drake don't even mention him again because this nigga's a fucking stalker. That nigga's a stalker to even do that.
My grandma baptized me at 8, y'all. And I ain't had no say in the matter. So you ain't gonna tell me how it go. I know how it go, nigga. Cause soon as after they baptize you, nigga, they dip you. The way you step in the water, that's a ritual. Baptism is a ritual. Dip you. Whip. Pass it. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you get in the water, they get in the water, nigga, pastor be right there with his arms out. Why we in the water for? Especially if we know what the element of water represents now, right? As soon as you walk in that bitch, nigga, pastor in. Dip you, pull you back up. Pull you back up, you. See what I'm saying? They send you to the front. They sit you down. There be a little line of y'all. Everybody, there's always a new set of niggas just got baptized. So you be in that set. Y'all all walking and shit. That's the congregation to the left. Everybody got to sit down because y'all the new baptees. Y'all the new baptees, you know what I'm saying? Y'all just got mind fucked young. You know, we 8 just got fresh mind fucked and gave us away to Satan. Quick, didn't they, y'all? We 8, 9. They come around with the crackers and the juice. Of course we gonna eat them 8. They give you them crackers, juice, knock you back. But now as an adult, I see what y'all was trying to do, God. That was fucked up. We was kids. Facts of July 4th. This is the day they defeated us, nigga. This is the day they finally defeated us. And then they enslaved us right after this day. You feel me? And they used our own black fucking Moors to do it, nigga. And then in Europe, after they enslaved us, then they used the Moors, who were still under spells, to design Europe. And the Moors helped them design Europe, built everything. The Moors did. And then, after they got tired of the Moors, they killed their ass the fuck off. Go look at the European Moors wars, nigga. Because remember, fuck, y'all ain't gotta look up shit. I'm the teacher. I'll pull it up for you. Okay. They like to call it the Reconquista. Everybody pay attention. Comments off for a second. I'm cutting the comments off. Everybody pay attention. This is what I want y'all to see. Now, I told y'all that they used the Moors to defeat us on this day today. And after they defeated us, they enslaved all the Anunnaki gods and goddesses. Then they turned around and used the Moors to build up Europe. The Moors being still under the spell that they've been under from the fucking Arcturians went along to help the Europeans build up Europe. Now,
die for knowledge.
What is that? Yo, that's crazy.
You know how like that shit like a robot
Press
does
play. Press play, bro.
Nobody else stop popping
Oh
out.
my
Look,
God.
the crazy part, that shit.
For the city of LA, because while everyone is distracted by Clinton Kane, I'm not distracted. I know that man Jack Wright is out there dressed up like Jeffrey Dahmer, taking people off the streets and eating them. There is a cannibal loose afoot. He like feet.
know that a tree has to grow in two directions at the same time. It's growing down and it's growing up. And what's interesting, if you could see the part of the tree that's under the ground, it looks very similar to the part of the tree that's above the ground. The root system is very similar to the fruit system.
Crazy. I never thought about that.
The nature of a tree is that it is both gravitropic and phototropic. So gravitropic means it grows away from light and towards gravity. That's the root system. It's gravitropic in nature. So the seed goes in the ground and then the tree starts growing down before it starts growing up. Now here's what's interesting. When the seed is under the ground, it's dark under the ground, it's damp, and it has resistance. The root system has resistance. It has to push through the dirt to go down further, right? Well, once it breaks through the earth growing up, there's no more resistance. And the part of the tree that's above the earth grows towards light and away from gravity. So the tree is growing in two directions at the same time. But if you're unwilling to go down, you cannot go up. That's just the nature of life. In nature, before anything can go up, it has to go down. What's really cool is all principles are microcosms of each other. So everything really just keeps proving everything else. Because truth is simple, it's lies that are complicated.
Found out that every motherfucking missing person, I thought motherfuckers really go missing. But when I found out that nobody ever went missing and every single missing person ever was really them kidnapping them, killing them, and eating them, when I found out that, well, remembered rather, because we already know this. When I remembered that, do you know that like I said, nobody that died that you ever buried, they not in the ground. They're not in the ground. You can go dig that shit up yourself. I got $1,000 for it. You dig it up right now. I guarantee you it ain't no bones in no bitch. I guarantee you ain't no bones in that bitch. It should at least be some bones in that still right there. Their body was down there, right? Was you gonna say all the bones got ate by the worms? Nigga, it ain't gonna be a box in there, nigga. It ain't gonna be a box in there, nigga. I bet you leaving a casket in there. A box. None of that.
I'm an investigative person. I can get in and out of places, and for some odd reason, I just have this ability to find out information and get information, and people will tell me all kinds of stuff. I was talking to this other person, I can't say names or anything, find out that we knew each other. She looked at me and she goes, I know you from somewhere, I know you. And we discussed some past things. She goes, oh, that's where I know you. This person happens to work in a blood bank. And she told me some things, what they're doing with the blood. Okay, here's the thing. And she showed me too. I couldn't take pictures. She wouldn't let me take the pictures of the documents. You know how you go to a blood bank or you give blood or plasma or any of that stuff and they tell you all the things they're checking for? But she showed me. She had all the paperwork. she had to, it's the training and all this. I couldn't even believe it. I asked her, I said, please show me, but I wasn't allowed to take pictures because it's like, or take a proof, but I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. I'm working on it. It says in fine print, and some of fine print, and then on another paperwork, that they're also checking for other things in the blood. But it doesn't specifically. I asked her, I said, well, wait a minute, what are they? They already say what they're checking, what they're doing, cross mat, you know, all that. What's the other stuff they're looking for? You know, they don't really tell that. I said, yeah, but it says right here, they're checking for other things in the blood. Don't you think they should tell you exactly what they're looking for in your blood or your plasma or whatever the heck it is you're giving? They've already covered, it specifically covers HIV, hepatitis, parvo, this parvo thing, all the other stuff that they really look for, you know, that if you got, you can't give their blood. But then it says, oh, we're also checking for other things. What other things? How come they have to, I said, why are they saying that? But they're not telling you what the other things that they're checking for. And she goes, well, because they have to put that on there for you're giving permission for them to take your blood. That's just that's like a little hidden loophole. I asked her, I said, does anybody ever question this one bullet thing on here that says this? She goes, no, because all the people that come in that give blood or plasma, she said, they're usually broke, you know, they need money, and she said, so they don't, she goes, half the people are so illiterate. And I was like, what? She goes, yeah, they're so illiterate that most of the time, all the stuff has to be read to them because they don't even understand. So you guys, it's in the document, it's in the stuff that they are looking for, but people don't realize it. People don't know what's going on. I'm getting that. She goes, you know, we're hiring. And I went, oh, are you? And she told me all about the job, and I'm going, you know, that's the best way to get in there and get some information on what's going on. I found out how much blood and plasma they get. There are these places, thousands of them, all over the United States. I know this is going to sound crazy. Blood and that stuff is not going to what you think it's going for. Not all of it. Nephilim they like that. What do you think they're surviving on? When we're talking about vampires and all that stuff and their blood banks and all that stuff, we're seeing it in movies. This stuff is being given and sent and done. They're doing... I'm not kidding. I'm learning where and what everything's going through. So I went ahead and I applied. Let's see what happens. I want to see. Because I want to get in there and get some information. I want to find out what's really going on. This won't be the first time that I did this. That I went into a situation to get the scoop. I mean, you guys, this is worse than you could even think of. This is worse than you. I'm not kidding you. I am not kidding you. That stuff that they're taking is not going to what you think it's going for. They're getting thousands and thousands and thousands of donations every day. And it's not going for what you think it's going for.
The Titanic, they told you, there was a lot of powerful family in that was against the takeover of America. The takeover is what you call the Reconstruction era. All your so-called new J.P. Morgan, all these new bankers, they was against certain family in that boat. And guess what, folks? They told you so-called, oh, it was one black person. No, I believe the entire freaking people crew was nothing but black people in there. Let me say this again. I believe the Titanic, the entire elite family they was talking about was nothing but so-called black people. And they lied. And they just only picked, I mean, they don't even want people to even know about this so-called Haitian. He was not Haitian. He was part of the empire. They just don't even want people to know that. They said it was one black person. All freaking lies. And look at his name. Look at his name. Joseph LaRoche. This is an indigenous name. That's when I know it was all indigenous activity going on in that boat. Because the name LaRoche means the rock. The rock. That's what LaRoche means. It's a French term because what they call French was the empire of Haiti. What you call France today, France, places that we want to call France today, this is New France. The real France they were always talking about is what you call the empire of Haiti. When you heard they told you Napoleon was literally have all or most of the states in America would speak French if it was not for this, it was not for the Louisiana Purchase, it's all lies. It was the empire running. And the empire called the empire of Haiti. The Haiti mean the continent because it's indigenous name. That's why his name is LaRoche. This is indigenous mean for the rock. That means his family was pillar. When they say, yo, you carry the rock. Yo, this nigga carry the rock. This is LaRoche they talking about. That means his bloodline is significant to what said so into the continent. And they take his whole family out. And he was not alone. They just only let this little one end up passing. Because most Haitian archives was untouched. Because most of the damage is done here in the United States because the reconstruction was done here. So they destroy more evidence, they burn more evidence, and they hide more evidence than any other places in the world. So Black Americans having a hard time finding themselves as
Play black noise.